Happy Friday, America! Really excited to be bringing this one in, and let's relieve our cortisol levels with this fun episode of Happy Friday, America. My name is Arthur Raw, and you know that I am joined by my fellow host, my good friend Kevin Cold Bevy in the Hand Batstone.
Happy Friday, America. Happy first day of summer. The summer solstice is here. It's hotter than 2 rats in a wool sock. It's hotter than a hoochie coochie. Let's let her rip, tater chip. Art, what do we got in history?
Well, we got in history on this day on the 20th of June. So back in 1819, the SS Savannah reaches Cork in Ireland after a 29-day and 11-hour voyage from Savannah, Georgia, to become the first steamship to ever cross the Atlantic or any other ocean for that fact. So pretty cool feat right there. 1840, American inventor Samuel Morse patented a specific device, the telegraph, which we all know is that sending SOS. That's why they call it the Morse code. So that's pretty cool. In 1840, and we all know how we had to use that in World War II, and then people were decoding it. That's cool. That's just cool stuff.
It's good history.
1895. First female PhD student graduates from an American university. That's Caroline Willard Baldwin. She got this in science, and that was at Cornell University. So, we like to see people succeed, and this is the first woman to ever get a PhD in the US of A. So that's pretty cool. And then 1970. Now, this is an event I've never heard of before. 1970 was the first Portland Rose Festival held in Portland, Oregon. I did a little research on this, a lot of music, a lot of food. There's probably a lot of fun festivals this weekend that everybody could go to. But apparently there's like some 3 million people that end up showing out for this event.
Damn.
Throughout the weekend. So that one's going to be popping.
Yeah.
And then another really cool one in 1995, if you're into astrology or our solar system and fun facts about it, 1995, the space probe Ulysses begins its second passage behind the sun, which, as we all know, is the burning bright orb, which provides us with all of our energy on this planet. And one thing that's interesting about the sun is that the light photons that are formed within the inner core can take up to 1 million years to bounce out and leave the sun. And then once the light photon leaves the sun, it could only take 8 minutes to get to Earth, but it can take up to 1 million years for that one light photon to leave the sun. That is today in history.
Juicy one there, Art. Hit on a lot of interesting points there. Some good stuff.
I like it.
Today on the summer solstice.
And you're bringing in a classic, an HFA classic.
Well, I love Joey the Jaws Chestnut. Okay, he's one of the greatest eaters of all time. This man is a machine. Okay, if you've been following Happy Friday for the last few years, we always cover him. He's got 16 mustard belts at the Nathan's National Hot Dog Eating Competition that takes place on July 4th every year, which is coming up. Now that we're in the summertime, we're talking summer events, and Joey the Jaws is back, baby.
Ooh.
That's right. He is back to compete this year. He was unable to compete last year, Art, if you remember from my article a year ago, because he had signed a deal with the Impossible Whopper, or one of the Impossible Meat companies, and ended up holding this side project down in Texas because he wasn't able to compete at Coney Island. Well, you know what? Move over, competitors, because the Jaws is back, baby.
Uh-oh.
He did 76 hot dogs in 10 minutes in 2021, Art.
And that's buns and all.
Buns and all, dunking them in the water. This man's going to be hard to beat. 58 was the number to beat last year. Joey the Jaws is coming in with at least 65 to 70. Look out, baby.
Damn. The Jaws is back, and this guy is not like an overweight person.
Most competitive eaters aren't.
Like, he's in shape.
They have to be.
Yeah, so he's like an athlete in eating.
Correct.
And so you just train your stomach. You eat really big, empty meals, I guess, to like stretch it out. Or like,
there's
I wonder how he trains.
A lot of prep that goes into it. ESPN Sports Science, John Brinkus, who RIP, he passed away at the end of May, actually looked into some of this, and like the way that their stomachs expand for this eating competition is it's amazing. Like if you and I were to give it a go, we would not be prepared.
I don't even need the nap.
How many do you think you could do in 10 minutes? Hot dog. It's just the bun
10.
and the.
No, I couldn't even do 10. I'm saying 5 to 7.
I could probably do 7.
Yeah, 5 to 7 is what I'm saying.
I feel sick.
Yeah, I'm
just not prepared to put that much meat in my mouth.
And all the time, that like I'm hungry and I want to eat and I end up making this big plate. Like the eyes are bigger than the stomach is a true statement.
When you're competitively
Yeah.
eating, you're just trying to get it in your gut as quickly as possible. So go Jaws.
Yeah, let's go, Jaws. And one thing that they say kind of helps with digestion is coffee. But one thing that I want to touch on, and this is almost resurface of an article I covered maybe 3 months ago on this program about how there's actually a lot of health benefits linked to drinking coffee and or like caffeinated beverages like green tea, things of that nature. So I'm going to briefly cover this, and then I have a couple heroes of the week that I want to talk about in the airports. So my quick tip on coffee and what I'm seeing here is that coffee actually might help with cardiovascular health if you drink it without cream or sugar. So specifically black coffee or raw tea, without any milk or creamers in there. So this study was with over 46,000 people over the age of 20. And they did this through 1999 to 2018. So a pretty long study here. And basically what they're showing is that if you drink black coffee, there's bioactive compounds that can help with cardiovascular health, and it helps decrease like stress and all these other ailments that could lead to death. So I don't know where they come up with some of this stuff, because they said like somewhere like there's like a 17% chance less of death if you're drinking black coffee. But for me, the one thing that like really stood out was there is a fine line here, because I probably drink too much coffee. So they say more than 3 cups daily didn't provide any extra benefits and actually weakened cardiovascular gains. So just like everything, there's a fine line to walk here, but 1 to 3 cups of black caffeinated coffee or tea potentially has a lot of health benefits.
I mean, we've heard that in the alcohol industry as well. Like a glass of beer and a glass of wine has shown like cholesterol improvement and cardiovascular health in the wine. But we know what happens if you drink too many of those.
Yeah.
So it's staying in that reasonable area.
Yeah, so look, I'm a daily coffee drinker, so I wanted to put out this affirmation for myself, basically, that I'm prolonging my life with my morning routine, but I got to cut it down a little bit because I think I'm over consuming. So that's part one of this double banger article event that I have here. The second piece of this is a Pittsburgh airport worker finds a diamond that fell from a traveler's while they were in the Pittsburgh airport. So this lady, it was Friday the 13th of all days, and everyone has superstitions that day. She's going to go get her like baggage from the baggage claim, and she's grabbing it late or something. Her hand gets kind of like almost stuck. She yoinks her hand away and then is like, "Oh, I got my bag. I almost lost my hand, but I got my bag." And then she's driving home and realizes that her engagement ring, which her husband gave to her in like the early 1990s, was missing the diamond. And so she goes rushing back. She goes rushing back and looking. And she's like looking around the carousel. And then some of the airport security and people working there also noticed her. And so they started helping. They all search for about 90 minutes, give up. So she leaves. And then she's like, so disappointed.
Thinks it's gone.
Yeah. And then 4 hours later, she gets a call. So they stayed on this thing 4 hours after she left.
On the hunt.
They disassembled the baggage claim thing, and they were like, they had 2 paint sticks that were taped together, and they were like scraping the dust at the bottom and ended up finding
That's crazy.
the ring. So, well, the diamond, I should say specifically, just the diamond fell out.
That's like finding a diamond in a rough.
It is finding a diamond in a rough, and it's also a highlight to the human condition to have capacity of caring. And like we all as humans really do care a lot to see other people live happy lives. And I think that's deep within all of us to have this urge to help others. But sometimes we just need to see people take that first action, and like what I forget what the effect is called. It's called like a bystander effect. So if no one's jumping in to help, then no one jumps in to help. But if one person jumps in to help, then everyone jumps in. So be that first person to jump in to help. And then at the end of this article, there was another case of other airport heroes that helped find like an engagement ring in a bathroom one time after it was lost in 2023. But hey, diamonds on the floor, and these people at the airport are helping find and recover these precious items and getting them back to the people. So I just wanted to highlight that beautiful trait in humanity. And we're going to keep it moving now to an incredible Guinness World Record that you found.
Yes. Random records of the week. We're keeping it moving here. This Croatian free diver, what a solid lad, Voltimir Markic, has set the new Guinness Book of World Record for the longest breath hold. Any guesses? Oh, you already read the article.
I cannot believe this number.
This is a pretty
I'll just
crazy
say
number.
that.
So he's in 3 meters of water. This was done in a 3-meter pool in the lobby of the Bristol Hotel in Opotica, Croatia. And the man went down, solid-looking lad. You can scroll down and see a picture of him here. In the article in the show notes down below, this man held his breath for 29 minutes and 3 seconds.
That is unbelievable.
He says it's all mental after he got to the 20-minute mark. A lot of training goes into this, of course, and it got me thinking about a movie I saw recently where Woody Harrelson plays. It's about these divers that go down and they fix the oil rigs well underneath the ocean.
Okay.
And they ended up losing communication with one of their divers, and he was completely without oxygen. His tank ran out, and he survived under the water for almost the same amount of time, 30 minutes, no oxygen.
That's crazy. Because, like, what? 3 minutes without oxygen, 3 days without water, 3 weeks without food is like the rule.
Yes.
For normal people.
For the most part,
but these people are trained just like the Jaws chestnut is for eating, but instead of their stomach, it's their lungs.
I mean, it's not only, so there's the physical element that goes into it, but just like when you do like a polar plunge or an ice plunge or whatever, a lot of it's mental.
Yeah.
You start to panic a little bit. So you got to calm your mind down. You got to calm your breathing down, and everything has to get kind of synchronized in order to go the distance. But if I were to do it right now, I could maybe do 2 minutes.
I don't think I'm doing 2 minutes. I'm like 1:30.
Really?
I don't think I'm going 2 minutes.
I got pretty good lungs.
You do, and you don't normally put anything in them either.
I don't.
So you got that going for you too. Let's do a hold your breath challenge after we record this.
Oh, I thought we were going to do it right now.
We don't got time for that.
No, we got to keep it moving.
We don't got time for that.
We got the Would You Rather coming.
We're jumping into Would You Rather from last week. The question was, would you rather have 4 10-hour shifts for your work week or the traditional 5 8s? Kevin and I, we both selected the 4 10s.
We both selected the 4 10s, contingent on, previous work history and our current situations. America went 50-50 on our poll. America went 50-50 on that, which was a little surprising. I felt like a lot of folks would go 4 10s, but I threw out some good arguments as to why they would go with the 8s, because they get a couple more days back in their day, commutes, what have you.
Thanks again, America. So this
a lot
week,
of 50-50s.
This week, Kevin came up with the Would You Rather. So would you do the honors?
Of course. Yep. So it's over 100 degrees here in Denver. It's the first day of summer, and this felt like an appropriate one to go on about. So here we go, America. Hot as hell wherever you're living. Would you rather have to sleep for a week in this brutal heat wave with no AC and no fan in your bedroom, or have to wear a winter coat outdoors every day in this heat?
I value my sleep so much. I can't stand being hot while I sleep. So I'm going to suffer while I'm awake, and I'm going to wear the heavy jacket.
I think I got to go with you.
Yeah.
Because the fan and the AC is so important to sleep in. I sleep with a fan on when it's 0 degrees outside. Not necessarily on me, but I need the sound.
Yeah.
I have an app on my phone for when there's no fans, if I'm in that situation.
Yeah, you got to have it.
So I'm with you. I'm going to have to wear the coat. I'm actually wearing one right now, but I'm not going to wear this outdoors. I'm going to take this off when we're done recording.
Yeah. And, you do get kind of used to it as well.
Your body would acclimate.
I think some people are going to pick
the no sleep.
Exactly. Because they probably already do it.
That's probably true.
Not
everyone's as fortunate enough to have AC.
Well, and also, I don't think there's a lot of fan sleepers out there. Mm-hmm. I feel like we're less than 50% of the population.
I think that's fair. I would say it's probably 50-50 on the fan sleepers.
Yeah. I don't know. Would you rather sleep with the fan blasting you or not? Like, that's me. So that's why I'm wearing the hot jacket. And plus I could get a fresh looking jacket. It's going to be a dope accessory. I'm going to be looking hot. I'm going to be feeling hot in the heat.
Yeah. It's tough though, wearing a heavy jacket out in that heat. I mean, that's going to be rough. That's rough. But yeah, I'm going to wear that jacket in the heat. I'm taking the sleep. Where are you going, America? Let us know. Comments below, or Twitter X @HappyFryUSA.
Now, a peanut butter and jelly always sounds delicious, but there are appropriate and inappropriate times to actually be making one of these sandwiches.
Yeah, this was kind of a wild deal. So a Zoom court hearing, which I'm not sure why we're even still doing this. This was during COVID. They were doing Zoom courts, but they're backed up, so it is what it is. So a Detroit mom, I don't know exactly what she was on trial for. This was a live stream court case, and she was getting ready to make her testimony, and the camera kind of cut. She's like walking around with it, and like props it up in her kitchen, starts getting herself a PB&J. Peanut butter and jelly with that Smucker. She's getting something to eat while she's supposed to be giving testimony.
That is,
and
does she not care about being
You think about
Spoken to by a judge?
Yeah, I mean, a judge is like, if you screw around in the courtroom, if you're not even paying attention, if you're like dozing off or whatever, the judge is like, hey man, like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So this is, no different than that. I think it's just a reminder of like being from home and doing these Zooms and stuff. Like you feel like you have more freedom than to actually be completely locked in on what's going on here. You're in a court case.
Yeah, you're in a court case.
You've just lost the judge.
Your sandwich can wait.
The sandwich
I
can wait.
understand how important a PB&J is and how delicious. And sometimes you're just craving that. But when you are handling business, you need to show up and be professional. Like if you're doing a job interview, whatever you're doing, do it to the best of your ability. Don't be half-ass about it.
I agree.
And be making it, especially if you have the privilege of doing it over a video call. You don't even have to drive there.
Yeah, I mean, you can at least tighten up for 30 minutes and then have your PB&J? Of course, she tried to play the poor me card. Oh, single mom. I had to make my kid lunch. It's like, well, you probably could have planned accordingly to this. You knew what time your court case was, So just some wild stuff out there that we found. Making PB&Js in the courtroom. The judge said that's a no-no. She lost some points there. Don't know what the verdict was.
Well, I know what the verdict is she just took dumbass of the week.
She's definitely dumbass of the week.
And I'm going to go ahead and...
There might be another one in the running.
Really? We got more. Okay, I like that. It's fun. It's a happy Friday. It's a fun Friday. What the is good, America? Well, I know what's good in Portugal. After 500 years, the beaver has returned to Portugal.
I got the fever. The beaver fever.
Hey, man, when I see beaver news, it's coming on Happy Friday because they are the engineers of the wild. They are the fire preventers of the wild. They are the aggregators of the wild. It's the beaver, and the beaver is back in Portugal. They haven't been there in over 500 years, and it's all part of this Rewild Portugal team. It's Rewilding Portugal is actually what it's called. And so beavers haven't been there since the 15th century, which is crazy. And they do help with flooding. There's less flooding when beavers are around. There's better fire prevention. Soil is actually better. There's so many benefits with beavers. And then also a side note, the bison are coming back to Portugal as well. And this is help create biodiversity and sustained wildlife within this region. So it's really exciting. One of the downfalls, obviously, is farming and agriculture. People got to learn to live with these creatures that actually build and make the environment sustainable and look, we've been learning this over the last couple centuries as a species ourselves. We went so far and now we're bringing it back. We're learning. So the beaver's back in Portugal. Couldn't be more happy to present that. And they are accompanied by the bison. And let's keep our wild lands wild. And I'm just really excited to talk about beavers once again.
Anytime there's beavers in the news, I know they're going to make HFA. So
you know it.
You definitely keep me updated on what's going on with the beavers around the world. Art's got the fever. The beaver fever. All right, let's go. Ready for my second dumbass of the week?
I thought the first PB&J maker was sure locked it in, but
we'll
what else? What else?
This one might just be crazy ass of the week. Okay. Which way you want to look at it. Let's call out Miss Kristen Spearman down there in good old Tejas, one of my favorite states in this country. This woman's out of her damn mind. So basically, she was arrested for a warrant of third-degree felony stalking, and let's dive into why. So there was a marriage license that was attained on June 2nd between her and her former fiance. So we talked about this a little bit off mic.
Yeah.
You obtain one of those and then you have to go get it finalized to be actually married.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so after they got the license, he decided, hey, I can't go through with this. I don't want to do it.
Okay.
I don't want to get married. And so come to find out, 2 weeks later here, just a few days ago, he got a package on his porch from his ex-girlfriend, which included a copy of their marriage certificate showing that they were now legally married in the state of Texas without his consent.
So he was engaged.
Yep.
Got the permission to get married from the state.
Yep.
And then she took that document and then brought it to a court.
Yep.
And then they signed it
yes.
without him being there.
Correct.
So that judge should be in trouble.
Yeah, there was probably some fuckery there.
And then,
unless she forged his signature or something.
No, but you have to be there.
Well, obviously you don't because they got married without him there.
Maybe she did a virtual type of thing and had some AI sitting in to talk for him. Because who did the vows with her?
Yeah, that's a good question.
How she pulled that off, I don't know. But how does this guy? It sounds like this is already being resolved.
Yeah, obviously the investigation is underway. certainly going to see some ramifications for it. I mean, felony third-degree stalking,
Yeah.
that's pretty intense.
Yeah. That sounds scary.
It does. I mean, so dumbass of the week or just batshit of the week, I don't know.
No, we're going to go with the flying mammal on her, and then PB&J could be the dumbass.
Batshit of the week,
Yeah.
and then PB&J is the dumbass.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair rundown.
That's how I'm thinking about it. Look, if you have an ex in your life and you've moved forward, it's only responsible for both parties to continue their lives without the other. It's time to move on, folks. It's just time to move on.
Yep.
We got to work on ourselves, love ourselves. If you don't love yourself, then you can never actually give a significant other the proper love to have a successful relationship. Love yourself first.
Got to love yourself first. Got to take care of yourself before you can take anyone else. Fill your own cup before it spills over and fills others.
Yes, that is the way. And now we're working ourselves into the weekend. Look, for fun shit to do, I'm going to open up my crib for my boys to see if they want to come over and be, dominated in Super Smash Bros. So that's what I'm going to do. We'll see who shows. Kevin just might make it over there. What are you doing this weekend?
We'll see. Got a lot of NASCAR business to do this weekend, amongst other things. We know it's going to be super hot, so definitely stay cool out there, America. Definitely want to drink plenty of water. Make sure your AC's up to date. Change those HVAC filters if you need. Get that thing ripping, tater chipping. And if you're in Long Pond, Pennsylvania area or anywhere driving distance from that area, NASCAR, baby, we are back to Tricky Triangle, Pocono, the famous Triangle racetrack. Everyone's like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if NASCAR raced that Triangle? Well, we do. So tune in. It's the final race on Prime this weekend for the Prime coverage team, NASCAR Pocono. We'll be back Monday night on this YouTube channel to break it all down. Mash the Gas podcast. Good stuff, Art.
Yeah, let's go. Let's bring it into the weekend. You know to check us out on all the socials, Kev. Where can they find us?
Conveniently, just scroll down, folks. Everything is down below. Be good to yourselves. Thanks for supporting this channel. I'm out.